Hey guys, it's your girl, Patience Noah Fuller, and welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Tea, where we are sharing our entrepreneurship journey. We are acknowledging those missed moments because if those missed opportunity and those missed moments are not managed properly, it could send you in a spiral. And then we are celebrating our small wins and our big wins. Let's get into it. So I am an independent insurance agency owner, okay? That just means hard work. That's all it means, okay? But listen, I've been doing it for 4 years now, so that means, we're pushing along, okay? But yes, I've been an independent agency owner for the last 4 years, but altogether, I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years now, okay? That's 5 years of hard work. I would say God has been good. Okay, we're still kicking, we're still going. So entrepreneurship is basically me starting off telling my journey of how I became an entrepreneur, and then later on I'll bring some of my good friends to come and share their journey with you guys, to come and tell us how they got into entrepreneurship, and also share their missed moments and their wins, and also show you guys who are looking to get into this space how you can go about it. And then those of you who are already in it, but then sometimes you feel like there's no light at the tunnel, they will be here to encourage you, to let you know that there's a light at the tunnel. So let's get into it. If you've listened to the other episodes, I've been telling you about my journey from the time I was young to my side hustle. And I told you about my experience, about how I discovered the insurance industry, my corporate experience. And then we ended up talking about how transition from corporate. It happens to us all. Now I can talk about it in public. When it happened, there was so much shame that came along with it. But listen, that's all behind us now. It's all water under the bridge. So we can move on from that. Okay? But anyways, today we are basically talking about how I went about opening my insurance agency. Okay, how did I go about opening an independent insurance agency? Last time, if you listened to last week or the last episode, I shared with you how I had to get 4 licenses because I already had one coming into opening an agency. I already had one license, which was my personal lines license that allowed me to sell auto and home products. And then I used to live by UMass Amherst, so I would go to the library and study. So it took me about 4 months to get all my licenses. Okay, I put myself on a study plan where I would go to the library every night because I'm a night owl. I would stay up, study at night, and then during the day, okay, I would sleep and I would cry. I would do whatever I needed to do because at that time I had just gotten fired and I was super depressed and I would cry all the time. But hey, listen, it pushed me into the entrepreneurship space. So I got all my licenses. I got my property and casualty license, and then I also got my life and health license. So altogether, I have 5 different licenses: property, casualty, life, health, and personal lines. Those 5 licenses are what I had to get to open my agency. Reason being was that I wanted to open an independent insurance agency. Okay, that's why I went about getting all those licenses. Not everybody has all those licenses, okay? It all depends on the type of agency that you want to open, okay? So for me, I wanted a full service agency. I went about getting all those licenses. So if you actually come to Patience Noah Insurance, we do anything. We service small to mid-sized businesses, providing them with auto insurance, home insurance, business insurance, life insurance, and then we also do group benefits, group vision, group dental, group life insurance, all of that stuff. Okay, those are what we do at Patience Noah Insurance. So if you're a business out there or if you're an individual out there, give us a call. We could help you out. Okay, why haven't you spoken to us? Give us a call. Okay, but yeah. So that's why I got all those licenses. So if you listen again from my previous experiences, I used to go into these agencies and with the carrier that I was working with at the time, okay, I would go and talk to them about how they can utilize our platforms, how they can utilize our resources for them to grow their business with us. So while I was going from agency to agency, I was speaking with the agency owners, asking them about how they went about opening their agencies, okay? So when and I got my license, what was the next step? Okay, one thing you need to know about your girl, if I want something, I can be persistent. So after I got all of my licenses, now there was one thing that I knew coming into it. Okay, I knew coming into the agency space, although I had a good knowledge of working for other people, I had no idea how to run a business. Okay, and many of us, right, don't come from a background that our parents or any family member own a business. I mean, if you're coming from an African background like me, I'm from Liberia originally. Yes, your parents may own a shop and things like that, right? But it's never really like a full-on business. I give you like an idea of what it means to really have a business that survives on the revenue of that small business, right? So my mom worked in the human services space, okay? I'll tell you about my mom another time, but she was a single mom, so I didn't have any business acumen coming into this. I just had a dream, okay? And then I also had a lot of hurt, right? Where I was like, I never want to be fired again, okay? So those were my motivation. Well, part of my motivation for starting my agency, okay? So coming into it, I had no business knowledge. So I knew that I wanted to crawl before I walked, okay? Keep this in mind. If you are looking to come into the entrepreneur space, okay, crawl before you walk, okay? What does that mean? Because I had worked for many years in my industry, I knew sort of the ins and outs, okay? And mind you, I had some conversations with agency owners. They told me how to go about it. So after I got all my licenses, I decided, okay, let me start with what we call a captive insurance as a captive agent. A captive agent is someone who only represents one insurance company. That's a captive. The reason why I decided to start off with this route is because it would allow me to sort of ease my way into the insurance space so that I can learn the business of running an agency, okay, before I got into the big boy leagues. At the time now, which I call the independent space, I call it the big boy leagues. But yeah, so I started off as a captive agent representing one insurance agency or insurance company. I represented one insurance company. And what this company did was I went into contract with them. So they have agents from other areas. So if you leave them, the book belongs to them. Now, what does that mean? All the customers that you got with them while you were appointed with them, all those customers belong to them, okay? So what they would do is they will give you your book of business, or when you leave, they'll give you a book of business to someone else to manage. And then while that person is managing that book of business, they too are growing their book of business. And then when they leave, same concept, okay? So for this company, that was the concept. So I was managing someone else's book of business while I was learning about the business of insurance. So when I started, they had set me up with a mentor that was in the Springfield area. So I would go to his office. My office was in his office, okay? And I would ask, basically I would ask him questions, okay, about, hey, how do I go about this? How do I go about that? But after I got licensed and I officially opened the door of Patience Noah Insurance, I was so overwhelmed. I mean, like, it felt like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? That's what it felt like, okay? Even though I was starting with this model that I felt like was the easiest model or was a better model, I was so overwhelmed, right? Because sometimes you just have no idea the responsibility that comes along with being a business owner, right? Not only are you responsible to like manage the sales aspect of it, you also have to figure out how are you going to create enough revenue at the end of the month to pay your bills, okay? And at the time, I don't think I had the full concept of that. So when I started, I was just super depressed, okay? Now, let's sort of like backtrack a little bit. I've gotten licensed, so I needed to register my business. So what I did, I would call the insurance department. I would call my insurance department, okay? I was like, hey, listen, I've gotten my license. Now what's the next step? Like, what should I do? Okay? So I'll call them and ask them, and then they would direct to me, hey, the next thing to do is to either, create an LLC. And then I was like, okay, what is that? How do I go about that? And then they would tell me, they had told me to call my Secretary of State in Massachusetts because I'm located in Massachusetts. So I had to call the Massachusetts Secretary of State, and then someone sort of like walked me through what I needed to do to register my LLC. Okay. For me, let me tell you something that I did that I felt like at the time I didn't know that I was being smart, but like in retrospect, I was being smart. So when I started, I went into business because I was representing one company, right? As a captive agent, I went into business as an LLC. So my LLC went into business with this company, okay? Instead of me, myself, Patience Noah Insurance, going into business with them. Okay? So what I didn't know, but it was in me, okay, was that if you have an LLC and you go into business, okay, if you leave, you can take your LLC in and they will keep the book of business. At the time, I didn't know I was being smart. Okay, so I started my LLC and went into business. Okay, so I went about getting it registered with the Secretary of State. Okay, I went online, I got my EIN number. Okay, and boom, I was in business. And then after I got my name, got my LLC name, got my LLC registered, got my EIN number. Then I proceeded to get the contract, okay, to represent this company, okay. So that was the step. I got licensed first. After I got licensed, I called the Department of Insurance and also the Secretary of State, and they walked me through what to do. Got an LLC name, which is Patience Noah Insurance, okay. Registered the LLC, got my EIN number, okay. And then after I got my EIN number, it's called EIN number of Federal Identification. After I got that, I registered my business with the Secretary of State in my state, which is Massachusetts. And then after I got all of that in place, then I proceeded to pursue contracts with insurance companies. Okay? So those are the steps of how I went about opening my agency. Now, everyone is different, and I think every state is different, and also it depends on the vision that you want, right? But I knew that eventually I wanted to open an independent agency, so that's why I took the step that I took. Okay, everyone is different again. Okay, so that's how I went about opening the agency. And then once I got the appointment with this insurance company as a captive agent, they assigned a mentor to me. Okay, they assigned a mentor to me, and then I was operating out of his office, and he was sort of like coaching me on what to do and how to go about sales, how to go about, organizing my company and things like that. And to be quite honest with you, I don't remember too much because at that time I was just so stressed out all the damn time, and there was just so much going on personally at the time. So it's a little bit of a blur for me, but I do remember this one incident that one of the office manager, her name was January. Love January, such a great personality. Actually, with her, so because she was born in January, every January she reaches out to me to just check up on me to see how I'm doing. So January was the office manager, great lady. I remember, I think it was about a month or two of working, like opening the office, and I just didn't show up for about a week or two. One, I got super sick, and two, I was very depressed. Shit, what did I get myself into? Okay, so January had when I came back to the office, she said, you showed up. This is how she sounds. You showed up. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, oh, I thought you quit. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what? She said, listen here, girl. Like, anyone or most insurance agency owners that open an agency, they quit within their first 3 to 6 months. I said, really? She said, yes. And then me too, being competitive, I was like, you know what? I am going to break that statistics. I'm going to be one of those agencies that last longer. Okay. So I decided to just start showing up. Like, even though I was depressed, even though I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what I was doing, I just kept on showing up. I was just waking up out of bed, showing up. And then whatever I didn't know at the time, yes, my mentor was a resource, but I was also reaching out to other agency owners that I felt like could offer some piece of advice for me or could offer some encouragement for me. If you start a business and you really don't know what to do and you're feeling overwhelmed and things like that, the best thing to do is reach out to those who've already done it so that they can give you some encouragement, right? Because for me, the more I talked to people and I spoke to people, it let me know, okay, if they can do it, me too, I can do it. Or if they can go through this process, me too, I can go through the process, okay? And then there were some people that was like just super mean. Like, they would tell me, listen, you're not going to survive. You're not strong enough to do this, okay? Which is okay, because at the end of the day, they're not God. He can tell me, like, you're not God, right? And so I pushed through those like tough times, especially like the first year. The first year is always the toughest because you just don't know what to do. Yes, you can prepare, you can put measures into place, right? But if you're new to owning business and things like that, it's just a tough journey and there's really nothing you can do. Like, it's just a silent thing that there's really no playbook on it unless you're in it and you're experiencing it. So that's what it felt like. It was super overwhelming, but I did have resources. I would randomly like just call any agency that I will find on Google. I'll call the owner. I'll call and talk to and ask for the owner, and then I will ask for coffee or something just for them to give me encouragement, for them to give me tips and things like that. So that's how I got through my first year. And then like my mentor, like he was just there. Like I remember one time I asked him, I was like, hey, listen, like I'm always feeling insecure about making calls, about going out. And then like, how do you do it? You know, as a female, like, you know, this is how I feel as an agency owner. And then he was like, listen, when I'm approaching sales or I'm approaching people, I don't look at it from, oh, I'm a male or I'm a female perspective. You just got to look at it that you're a business owner. You are bringing value to whomever it is that you're speaking to, right? And that you are there because you're bringing value to them. That's how you got to look at it. And I think that shifted my mindset. After that, I stopped looking at, you know, approaching people from like, oh my gosh, I'm just a female, or I'm just a Black person, or I'm just like a young person in this business. It was like, no, I'm an expert, right? I'm coming at you from an expert perspective, okay? So yeah, so that's how I went about getting my licenses. And then I opened my LLC. So 8 months after I opened my business as a captive agent, the pandemic hit. Well, pandemic hit. And the pandemic was a pandemic, okay? But I ended up transitioning, like I ended up pivoting real quick. I mean, like real quick, pivoted within 8 months. I was like, okay, maybe I should just become an independent insurance agency right now, right? Which at the time, like what most people were telling me, like nobody's starting an agency from scratch anymore. And starting an agency from scratch is basically you're just starting with your phone and a list of people to call, right? So I started a scratch agency and I ended up, and that's how I came about. And because I went into business as an LLC, I just brought my LLC name with me, and that's how Patience Noah Insurance transitioned to be an independent agency. Okay, so yeah, so if you're out there and you're looking for business ideas and you want to get into business and you're considering industries and things like that, listen, take a look at the insurance industry. I think it's an overlooked industry that a lot of people are just not too familiar with, or because over the years, like the reputation has sort of like dwindled over the years. But listen, it is an industry that if you have the right formula, it could be very profitable, okay? And there are tons of insurance agencies out there that are thriving, okay? So if you want to look at owning an agency, okay, reach out to your girl. Message us, okay? Slide in our DMs. Ask questions, okay? Just say, hey, Patience, I need more information on how I can go about becoming an agency, okay? But definitely do some research, okay? And again, it was a little bit of an easy transition because I was already in the insurance industry, okay? So it was a little bit of easier transition for me. But at the end of the day, no one can prepare you for entrepreneurship. No matter what the industry is, nobody can prepare you. But it does make things a little bit easier if you have someone who's coaching you and guiding you throughout the process, okay? So again, if you need help, reach out to me. Okay? I'll point you in the right direction, okay? Thank you for listening. I hope you took something from this, okay? And if there's anything that you need, okay, listen, like I said, reach out to me. And then also remember, I am an independent insurance agency owner, in case you didn't catch that, okay? Patience Noah Insurance is the name of my business, okay? But reach out to me and my team. We will definitely give you a quote. If you're a small to mid-sized business, we will definitely give you a quote. And let's see if we can do some business together, okay? But thank you for listening. Please share, okay? Share on your pages. Please share with your friends. Share with someone who's looking to go into business, okay? Later on, I will I will be bringing some of my cool friends and hopefully some of my clients too that will be coming to share their experiences with you guys to encourage you as you launch into the entrepreneur space as well, okay? Thank you for listening. Subscribe. And like they do in all podcasts, hit the notification button. Okay, hit the notification button so that you can be notified when we upload new episodes. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.